Halloween is one of the most loved time of year by people of all ages, from kids who love candy to adults who love candy. But there's more to Halloween than that. So, here are my top 10 Halloween facts you may not know. Number 10. Poison candy. During the 70s, panic spread throughout all parents during the seemingly harmless tradition of going trick-or-treating. A boy died of a heroin overdose, and when the police were sent to investigate, they found that all of his candy had traces of heroin. Later on, they found out that the young boy had actually eaten some of his uncle's heroin and overdosed. So, to cover up the accident, they started a nationwide panic. This was of course the perfect cover-up, and in 1974, a father killed his own son to collect insurance money by filling his pixie sticks with cyanide. Number 9. Halloween colours. During the Halloween season, the colours black and orange are usually everywhere. They're used in prints and patterns to make scary scenes of spooky bats and cats against a haunted house. But the original reason for these colours were actually simple. It represents the autumn season. The orange comes from the darkening of once green leaves and pumpkins. But why black? Because Samhain marked the beginning of the dark days that winter would bring due to the lack of daylight hours. Number 8. Full moon. During almost every horror movie, and more specifically Halloween movies, you can probably notice that there is a bright full moon. Even the Halloween decorations have full moons with bats or witches flying across it. However, a full moon on the 31st of Halloween is actually quite rare. It's almost like a comet. It only happens every so many years. The last one was in 2001, while the one before that was in 1955. It doesn't seem to have any sort of pattern, as the next one won't occur until 2020. Number 7. Samhain. Originally, Halloween was called Samhain. It is a Gaelic holiday that marked the end of the harvest season and onto winter, also known as the dark season. The Celts whom celebrated Samhain believed that the veil between the world of the living and that of the dead would be dropped, thus allowing spirits to come through and once again be a part of this world. They wore costumes and masks during the Samhain festival to discourage and confuse any spirits with dark intentions. Number 6. Trick or treat. Trick-or-treating has been around for a very long time. In the medieval times, it was known as guising. One version of this was poor adults and children would go around in costume begging for food in exchange for good prayers or song. Number 5. Black cats, spiders and bats. All three were thought to be familiars of witches during the Middle Ages. As a result, they are often tied to omens of bad luck. Despite being proved false, the stigma of being creepy and spooky are still there to this day. Bats were also given a bad rap, as they would always come out during the Samhain tradition of having a bonfire. This was done to drive away any insects trying to eat their crops, but also attracted the bats who were just trying to eat the bugs. Black cats were seen as awful during the Puritan pilgrims, whom would gather the black cats they could find and burn them every Tuesday as a cleansing of the town. Number 4. Candy. Candy has become a very important factor during Halloween activities. They make on average $2 billion in America alone. This doesn't include the billions spent on costumes and Halloween decorations. The estimated total spent is around $6 billion. Interesting how a holiday marking the end of autumn could rake in so much money. Number 3. Commercialized. In many countries around the world, France and Australia included, Halloween is seen as an American over-commercialized holiday and they do not wish to partake in it. Not to say that Halloween itself is bad, but it has gone from a celebration of the end of autumn and turned into dressing up, candy and such. Number 2. Halloween around the world. Many other countries celebrate Halloween in one way or another. It is commonly the same with England, America and some other countries. Though in China, it is known as the Lantern Festival. Instead of pumpkins, they hang lanterns around the house and streets to guide spirits whom wandered into our world back to their old homes and visit with their relatives. The families will often leave food, water and other offerings by a picture of their ancestors. This is similar to the Dia de los Muertos celebrated in Mexico, where by their grave, Mexican families will leave their late relatives offerings of treats and things, making a huge celebration and festival out of it in order to be closer to their relatives. Number 1. Jack-o'-lanterns. The pumpkin-carved jack-o'-lanterns used to be carved from turnips, or so the tale of Jack claims. Jack was a farmer from Celtic folklore whom taunted and played many tricks on the devil. This, of course, angered the devil. So, once Jack died, neither God nor the devil wanted him, and thus decided to make Jack spend the rest of eternity wandering purgatory with only a burning lump of coal to guide him. Taking the coal, Jack carved a turnip and turned it into a lantern to guide him around. The Irish families who fled to America to escape the potato famine back then brought over this myth. However, since turnips were hard to find in America, they used pumpkins. The law began to transform and they would carve scary faces into pumpkins to keep evil spirit Jack of the Lantern away and guide the other spirits back to their world. Anyway, I hope you liked this week's roundup, and if you want to see another dark themed top 10, click here for my top 10 nursery rhyme dark origins. If you want to see my previous top 10, click here for my top 10 haunted cemeteries.